Okay, so story time. I already filmed this video, just getting closer to a week ago now. I had it completely down packed. It was a great video. It was a 15-minute long discussion about Asian hip-hop music. But then my hard drive decided to fail me last Thursday and just deleted everything. So I now have nothing. I'm starting again. It's killing me. The assignment's overdue by a couple of weeks now, and it's due. The very final time that I can submit it is in like 2 days' time. So I had to get off my high horse of feeling sorry for myself and come out and actually film this thing. So today's video is about autoethnography and how I probably should have made some changes from my previous post in relation to how much research I put in and how much I focused on the actual core material. So I feel like those two things are the two main things that people can change in their posts. In my previous post, when I was talking about photography and my own analysis of myself in that culture, I feel like I was broad enough to really not get much wrong. And if I was to do it again, even if I had done more research, it's still, I find that the layman terms were a lot more accessible to a wider audience. So I feel that as I'm happy with the product there as far as the actual content goes. The subject, however, was not part of Digital Asia. It probably wasn't a good idea not to write about Digital Asia just because it's the class that we're doing. And sure, I can analyze my own culture. That's easy, but the actual difficult part, the part that I didn't do because I was lazy, was actually look at another culture, specifically an Asian culture, and analyze a form of digital media within that. And that's what I'm going to do today. More specifically, I'm going to be talking about Korean hip-hop music and Korean rap. Or even to get more specific, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite Korean rappers, Keith Ape. And one of my favorite songs of his is a song called Injima, which is Korean for never forget, which is something that they say to each other within their gang. The reason why I came across this form of media is because it's gained so much momentum that it's almost become westernized in a way. It's had the Western treatment done to it in a few remixes that I've come across lately. The first was a remix that included a whole heap of American rappers. People like Waka Flocka and ASAP Ferg. We gon' rap every day. They feature in the video and they feature in the new version of this song in order to expand the audience because the song itself has gained so much traction. And then the other remix, which is probably my favorite one, was I'm going to call it an opus track because that's what the actual remix name is, which is pretty much an orchestral reimagining of the piece as if it was going to be in a movie. Or more specifically, the artist said that this is the sort of music he'd use if he was directing a sci-fi space gangster movie. The song's 15 minutes long, and it's composed by one of my favorite artists, Josh Pan, who is an Eastern artist who lives in New York and has been recently signed to my favorite record label. So good on you, Josh. So let's talk about now that we've got the background stuff out of the way, I'm really zooming through this time. This isn't going to be another 15-minute long video, CBF'd, but now let's talk about my feelings. I really, really love the tracks on Keith Ape's latest mixtape. For a few reasons. One of them is obviously the opus version of Injima is one of my favorite songs of all time. I feel like it really captures that cinematic experience well in a track, which is something we don't see in music much these days, and really breaks the mold. And the other reason is exactly that: his songs break the mold. Keith Ape's raps and his music videos and his musical structure really pushes the boundaries of what music can be considered of, even over here in the Western culture. And that's something I really appreciate in all music, because I come from an electronic music background, and when you're talking about electronic music, with the range of options that you have these days, it's really hard not to... It's kind of hard to not slip into a repetition cycle and just pump out cookie-cutter music, which is the same with pop, I guess. But with this album, and Ichima's song and music video specifically, because it's what I'm talking about today, it really does. It's really more avant-garde as far as... I'm not sure if it's so much different over there, but it's really different than what we experience over here in Western culture. Even coming down to the music video itself, it's kind of like a... just because I only watched it a couple of weeks ago, it's very Akira-esque in the fact that it's very neo-Asian, bright flashing lights, but in like that dank sort of underground feel. It's very confined. The clothes that they're wearing are really, I'm going to say, out there. I'm going to take a page out of the critics book, because I've seen a lot of reviews on this video and everyone's like, oh, why are they dressed like they're from the early 2000s? But that's their style. That's the sort of aesthetic they're going for, and I really appreciate that. It's something that I also really tugs at my heartstrings, because I really love that bright neon lights and the old school VHS style videos where the special effects are really, really tacky, but in a kind of a grungy sort of way. And that's why I feel like I really connected to his music. Another way that they kind of push the boundaries that I really appreciated, going to their Cohort music video, it's a music video that they made specifically when they came over to the States, and what they did was they went outside their own clothing label store, sent out a mass tweet saying, everyone come here to film a music video. Thousands of people rocked up in front of their store, and it was just a huge mesh of thousands of people in the streets, jumping around, trashing shit, going crazy, until eventually the cops came. And even that point where the cops came and they started all running away, that still featured in the video, which was excellent. Like, it was tons of fun to watch. And once again, they pushed that aesthetic of a really old school classic, like we're old but we're new. So you got the bright colors, very film stock-esque video, like I'm featuring at the moment. And it just really connected to me personally. So those were the sorts of reactions I had towards his music and his label. And yeah. Some hindrances I had this time as far as analysing myself were, I didn't make any notes the first time I really experienced the music. By the time that I realised that I wanted to turn this into a blog post and eventually, hopefully, a major work, I was already an album deep. So it wasn't as if I went into this specifically thinking, okay, I'm going to make a video out of this. This is going to be something where I analyse myself. No, I only started analysing myself halfway through. I didn't grab any notes, which is what I had last time when I was analysing myself in the streets, on the field. I'm still on the field, technically, because I'm analysing myself. But, when I did the photography thing, I was taking notes the whole time, which is why I think a written version of the blog post was a lot easier, whereas this time, because I didn't make any previous notes, I really couldn't put it on paper. I couldn't type it out. I did tons of drafts and they were all horrible. I can't write for shit, so that's why you guys have seen my beautiful face this week. So that was one of my main hindrances, and obviously the other one, which is a main problem that I have with autoethnography, is it's hard to analyse yourself and still become reactionary to the content. You can sit there and you can really get involved in what you're doing, and that be your major focus, or you can take yourself out and analyse yourself and then not truly react to the stimulus that you're trying to analyse yourself reacting to. See, this gets into a bit of a loop here. So that's something that I'm going to have to further analyse in order to better myself as an autoethnographer and someone that can go into these sorts of situations and really objectively analyze the way that someone from outside the culture can react within. And yeah, that's it. That's where I'm at the moment. I'm sorry for this being so late. I'm sorry for it being rushed. I might have missed out on a few things, but like I said, my when I had that little spark and I'm like, yes, okay, yeah, I'm ready to make a video, that all dissipated last Thursday. So this is a subpar video in my opinion. I'm sorry about that, but it's the best I could push out before I have to submit it. So I'll see you guys next time I put a video out.